All right, I think we're all here. And I'm going to, before I get into our little wrap up, I do want to thank everyone who made the conference possible, and a special thanks right now to the people who presented yesterday and today. Let's give everybody a round of applause for their posters and for their sessions. It was so nice to see the work that everyone has done. So this is a tradition that started at the 2018 annual meeting and continued in 2019, where we have a brief conversation about interesting projects we saw, lessons we learned, things we want to take with us. So I'm going to have the microphone manned by our Vice President-elect, Patrick Cash. And if you just want to raise your hands and tell about some interesting lessons or projects you've inspired to pursue, things you were surprised to learn, anything like that would be fine. We have one from our current president. That was the theme in the last session.
This is how to keep you warm, buddy. Just doing it for you. Hi. From myself and my colleagues, we would just like to say we've seen a lot of really good-looking spreadsheets. Keep up the good spreadsheet work. Keep showing us those spreadsheet screenshots. We want to see the color coding. We want to see the column headings.
You might say archivists excel at that.
Also, maybe try Airtable, but maybe not. Maybe just keep it in the Excel family. Sorry, Megan.
2025, Excel versus Airtable.
A duel.
Yes. The Thrilla in Carolina. No. So a nice spread. Now shout out to Spreadsheets, which is, I'm going to take that band name. Any other observations? Sessions that stood out? Yes, we have one right up here at the front. Patrick is going to get your steps in today.
Yes, sir.
So I will admit I did not know about the Connecting the Docs podcast, but I have now subscribed. I will encourage everyone else to do the same.
We are expecting a listener spike as a result of this conference. So thank you. Just, I'm curious, does any other repository operate a podcast that's in here? Which repository?
This is for the Mary Chief Jackson Center for Saving and Making History in Chapel Hill, and we're working on a youth-driven podcast called Fusion Youth Radio that'll be played on the UNC radio station.
Awesome. Very interesting. I mean, people listen to it anyway. Why not listen to something about us? Two back in the back.
I'm currently a student at UNC, and so this has been such a valuable conference to come look and see what professionals both in the state and out of state are doing. And it's like not only invigorated my desire to like work in archives, but like help stoke that fire and like keeps me excited to see what's going on and see like what opportunities and what everybody's doing. So I just wanted to thank everybody. And I'm excited for next year. We only have to wait another 360 some days. So.
Slightly less than that, we'll reveal at the end of this session.
I'm not walking.
Over here. Yeah.
Okay. Hi. So whenever I go to a conference, what happens, I find to me, and this happened this time too, is it makes me like immediately start thinking of things that I need to do, like that I was supposed to, whatever, like, oh yeah, loose ends, right? And so this was no exception. And so the session I went to yesterday about student populations on college campuses and like collecting from them and that sort of thing. That reminded me, so I'm glad, that, we at ECU, we did, and Patrick helped with this a lot when he was our assistant university archivist, that, we really tried to evaluate, and like comb through and come up with sort of a comprehensive list of all these student organizations so that we could figure out if they had some sort of online presence we should collect. And so we've been collecting from that since, but that was, several years ago. And so I'm like, I need to do a reevaluation of what student groups we have. There's probably some new ones. There's probably some that are, well, I know there's some that are defunct, but there might be other ones I don't know of being defunct that are, right? And undoubtedly there's new ones. So just, I guess, as it kind of reminded me again that, that work is, like all of our work is iterative, right? That is the sort of thing that has to be, there are a lot of things like that you have to revisit and be like, okay, we did this once, but we need to look at it again and see what's different. And so that was a good reminder. So yeah, I'm leaving with a list of the things next week that I'm like, all right, I got to put this in some prioritization list of when we're going to do this. But.
It's an interesting, that session and several others we've had throughout, and whether it be outreach or we had the centers session, the sessions we had this morning on redescription with here at TNC and trying to get more communities involved. I feel like there's an interest in reframing users/patrons as partners. And whether that's in collecting or representing their voices, it's a two-way partnership. I think that's a sea change. And from having a reference background and now working in description, I welcome it. I think it's a good thing. It can only help the research side, and it'll help us make sure that we're collecting the voices of as many people as we can. So, yeah, shout out to all the sessions that were working on that throughout these past few days. It's one of those things, our very first session yesterday morning, looking forward, I think that's a forward thing that we can look forward in as we go on. Thank you.
So I'm coming up on 2 years being back in North Carolina. I'm a native North Carolinian, but I was in Atlanta for 6.5 years working at Emory. And when I first started at my current job, I was a loan arranger. No, I'm not. Thank you so much. I at a very different kind of institution, a nonprofit, religious organization, not a big private university, academic setting, and also with a very, 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 very different collection that had been managed very differently from any collection I had worked with. And so I should have known, but I didn't know what to expect coming to this conference, and I found myself being able to relate a lot to what other people presented. The dams migration presentation yesterday, I have nothing to migrate, but I would like a dams, and so that was still like a helpful presentation. And then earlier this morning, that treasurers and comptrollers collection looks and sounds exactly like a lot of my collections, their current state anyway. So anyway, I feel like I did find a community. I already had, a network of archivists and colleagues from being in the profession this long, but having more local colleagues doing things that relate to what I am now doing in my own repository, that's very nice. So that's what I'm taking away.
I like that sentiment. I think we all share that. And I always like to hear when projects from other kinds of places connect to our own. Always. Thank you very much.
I'm also a SILS student, and this is my first time attending a professional conference like this, and I really enjoyed it. It was very worth my time and my investment into coming here, and I really enjoyed all the topics. I liked exploring what kind of challenges there are tackling within the North Carolina area, especially since I want to work within the North Carolina system as an archivist. And I really enjoyed the keynote speaker yesterday. He was fantastic, and it really lit a fire in me to search my own family history, especially since there's a lot of mystery in my family. And so I really enjoy it, and this is why I wanted to become an archivist in the first place.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you to Dr. Waters for that amazing talk yesterday. I think the moment when he said that he found the letters from a relative that he thought was uneducated, what a surprise. And then hearing the voice of his grandmother for the first time in nearly 20 years, those are the moments that make us realize what we do. I mean, it wasn't quite as epic as that, I suppose, but when I was a student worker at what's now Rubenstein Library, when I got the bug for this, we had a researcher come in who was trying to find the foundation of their church in Virginia, and they were able to find the letter in Duke's archives that essentially founded the church. It was founded by either General Stonewall Jackson or someone very closely related to him. And the gentleman had been looking for it for near about 20 years and just broke down crying in the reading room. And that's when I knew that, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. So whenever we can facilitate moments like that, that's pretty amazing. Other thoughts? Well, I'm not going to artificially keep you. Yes. Well, Ashley, then let Ashley go first, then you'll have the last word.
No, I just wanted to thank, for those of you who are just in the auditorium, so there were 4 students who presented about their practicum project from the semester, but I also know there are other students who have presented over the past 2 days, and I don't know if, this is the first time that you all have presented at a professional conference, but thank you for bringing, a student viewpoint to the conference, and it's not just, all of us, old people, presenting all the time.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I'm just out of curious, show of hands, if this was your first as a student attending or young professional attendance or presentation, raise your hand. Fantastic. And please tell your classmates to join SNCA and be a part of our organization.
Hi, everyone. So for those of you who weren't here at the business meeting this morning, so I'm rolling off as the member at large for the, I guess it's a liaison position for the LIS schools in the area. And so I'm looking to update that point of contact list for instructors or anyone who works in that capacity with library school students. If you would like to have your name added to that list to receive information from SNCA, please see me so that we can update that, and who the new member at large will not send emails to someone who doesn't want them or can't get them to where they need to be, because we're really looking to improve our offerings to students and to provide opportunities. And so if you could, please let me know if you want to be that person for your library school students. And I won't go off on a tangent, but I hope you all enjoyed yourselves.
And before I make my last closing remark, I would like to introduce Patrick to make an earth-shattering announcement.
And I will just add my thoughts as someone who for the last year has cried and cried to leadership that I have completely run out of space. After the Appalachian State Records Management move presentation last year, it is now my mission to make sure administration knows that you cannot move records to a different county. I know how far it is between Hickory and Boone, and I'm sorry. So I'm excited to announce that SNCA will be returning to Greenville, North Carolina, and ECU's Joiner Library, along with some of our fellow partners in the area, will be hosting next year's conference, with the proposed dates being March 12th through March 14th. We have to go back on the spring break route, so sorry. But at least it doesn't snow that often in Greenville, so we'll be good there. But look forward to more information about that as we get further into the summer. And if you're interested in helping out with either planning or local arrangements, if you're from the East, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to have as much help as possible. So.
One, our quick final notes. Thank you so much for making this conference a reality. As Stephanie alluded to earlier or yesterday, this has sort of been my vision for 2 years to get this conference here, back where it started for the 40th. And I'm so happy we pulled it off. Thank you to everyone who helped us make it happen. Local arrangements, programming, all the other archives and library staff here. Thank you for coming to my home here at the State Archives. We will see you next year in Greenville. On the way out, if you haven't gotten one yet, please pick up a complimentary chocolate chip cookie from Morning Times. That's my favorite cookie in Raleigh, and I had them specially make them for y'all as a parting gift today. Also, make sure you fill out the evaluation, and we'll send you an email if you want to use the QR code. It's out there. I think it's still out there, unless Francesca's already taken down the registration table. But if not, please, we'll send you an email, and that will help us inform what we want to do for our next year's conference. Until then, until you see me virtually, safe travels. Thank you so much.